some interesting results being that Real Madrid dropped points for the first time this season. I was actually a bit nervous because I was loving our Invincibles chat and saying, yeah, they could probably go invincible. I mean, it depends on what happens in El Clasico. But against a 10-man Osasuna, something that I don't know if anybody saw coming at the Bernabeu under the lights, Rodri. What did you think of the game?
Well, this is something that had to get for Real Madrid, because they were on the edge in a couple of times in these past games in La Liga beginning, that they were about to drop some points. But finally, when you face Osasuna, you face a very defensive team when they play in Santiago Bernabeu. But at the same time, they defend really well, but they attack really well. They are really fast, very vertical, and they have so many great players. And I remember, when David Garcia, when he was sent off, I was like, man, this is gonna be so hard for them to defend and keep this clean sheet. But finally, they were like, my God, man, they're struggling. They're gonna get a draw, and they fought so well. The Real Madrid wasn't unable to make the second goal, even with that penalty that Benzema missed, which is something that, did you know this is the third time in a row that the same goalie stops a penalty against Benzema? Benzema, in the past 3 penalty shoots, he missed against Sergio Herrera. And this was something great back at Bernabeu last night. So that's why they struggle a lot in attacking. They couldn't face the goal as they did in the previous game. So that's why, this is something that Real Madrid has to think about in the second leg of the season, because what if Benzema doesn't score the goals that he scored last season? What will happen? Think about that.
That's exactly what we were wondering as well. And I mean, when you look at the stats, 22 shots at goal, but only 4 of them were on target for Real Madrid. They did dominate. They had all of the possession. They did have their chances, but it was weird to not see them as deadly in the final third and taking their chances. Because if there's one thing that Real Madrid does, it's take their chances. And for example, we saw like the likes of Mallorca score against them, and we know Mallorca's a different team, of course, and we'll give Osasuna their props for this one, but you were always waiting. I was like, don't worry, we know this story all too well. We know it's going to happen. And when I saw the penalty, I said, here is the penalty. That probably should go in. Then we're going to see Vinny score after, and then maybe Rodrigo. And no, it just never came. So I think massive props to Osasuna for that. It was incredibly difficult after going down 10 men. And I mean, Real Madrid, I suppose we look at them and some changes, we did see were made. For example, Valverde wasn't starting, Rodrigo started. I absolutely love me some Rodrigo as well. A big miss too, no Thibaut Courtois, Rodri. We know you had a bit of a knock coming after international break. You expect the odd knock or two. We saw lots of injuries, especially to Barcelona. We'll get to that in a bit. But Courtois, what's the latest there? Should we be worried? Because it's a very busy couple of weeks next, and as we said, he's been one of their best players, if not their best player last season too.
Yeah, they have to play against the Shakhtar Donetsk 2 games in a row in the Champions League, and then in between they have to travel to Getafe. Well, they have to face Getafe away. And that's why Courtois is making some tests now at the Real Madrid training ground to see if he finally take that risk to play on Wednesday, or if he rests a little bit and is ready for the Clásico. I've been told that he will be ready for the Clásico for sure, 100%. But the only doubt that Real Madrid, that the medical services, and even the coach and the player, they are thinking about is that he may play on Wednesday or even on the weekend against Getafe. So let's see what happens finally. But the thing is that, he was a little bit upset because he wanted to play last night and he couldn't be able because he has like a little pain in the back. He has like a nerve. I don't know if you call it nerve in English, but he has like a nerve that kind of disappoint him in terms that he's not fit enough and comfortably enough to play football. So that's why he stayed at home last night.
It's such an interesting time because there's so many games coming thick and fast for club in their leagues, in the Champions League. You want to play in all of them because you know what you need to do. But for someone like Courtois, who is, Belgium's number 1, you're also thinking of the World Cup. And I remember talking to Eunice about it, and you're almost like, you don't want to play, but you know you want to play, but you almost want to be perfect for the World Cup. So I'm sure Belgium and everyone is holding a little breath as well. But one interesting stat though, like we were saying, that Courtois is or has been easily top 3 best players for Real Madrid from last season. But this season so far, again, he's been brilliant. But Real Madrid, any worries? They asked Carlo Ancelotti at the end of this match, and it was interesting. He kind of deflected from it, but he said, is it a worry that they've not kept a single clean sheet so far? Yes, they're winning. Yes, they're scoring more goals, but no clean sheets. And you've strengthened your defense. You've got some big name defenders on there. You've got, probably one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the world right now. Is that concern for you, Rodri? What do you think?
Well, at the end, you have to think about what Real Madrid has in defense this season. And I know that all the people may say that, okay, you have Militao, you have Alaba, you have Carvajal, even you have Mendy. It's the same defense line the last year. And I understand that. But then you have to think about the rotations that Ancelotti is making this season, because they included Antonio Rudiger from Chelsea, and he has to adapt yet to Real Madrid defensive system, which is something that will take maybe a little bit more for the German guy. So that's why they have to adapt. They have to rotate a little bit more, and that reflects on the results. And now you think about the rivals that Real Madrid is facing at this La Liga beginning, which are not really bad rivals, because they are very vertical and they get advantage of any kind of space that Real Madrid may have in the back. So that's why I wouldn't be, to be honest, I wouldn't be worried about that if I were a Real Madrid fan, because this is something that Ancelotti is going to make up for sure in the following weeks.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.